Hey, welcome back everybody to more SWGOH Shorts, my series of videos talking about different topics in Galaxy of Heroes. Today we're going to keep talking about guilds, but we're going to talk about the state of recruiting from a recruiter's perspective. And before I do that, I encourage you to go back and watch the previous 5 videos. It's really important to understand, the different topics we discussed, player styles, guild styles, how to find the right guild, etc. But one of the things, that really shook up guilds in the recruiting landscape, over the last 2 years that I've been playing, there's a few milestones that happened. One was the great nerf of 2021. I think you saw a lot of, older players just quit the game. So that meant guilds were trying to scramble to replace those members. Then the next big change, or next two big changes, were really the introduction of Relic 8 and Challenge Rancor. What happened here was you had a lot of mid-tier guilds that maybe they had some high-end players, but they were happy in those guilds, but they realized their guild just wasn't active or competitive enough to clear CPIT and get those materials, and they wanted the new Galactic Legends. So they started to leave for higher GP guilds, and that really tore apart a lot of these mid-tier guilds and made them again scramble to try to find replacements, which they weren't going to find people at the same GP with the same developed rosters. And at the same time, you had smaller accounts, newer accounts that were wanting to get part of the new Galactic Legends, requiring these R8 materials, and were asking to join. Then, very similar to that, you had the Relic 8, or sorry, Relic 9 introduction, and then the impact on territory war. So you had people that wanted to be competitive. They needed to now get into guilds that were 320 to 380 million plus GP. So again, you saw a lot of players start to leave some of these, not high end guilds, but like upper mid tier. And then now, with the new territory battle, Rise of the Empire, you're starting to see, players that they want to have the new and shiny toys, and they're investing in the Inquisitors, they're investing in Jabba, they're leaving for guilds that are going to be getting them the Reva shards, etc. So those are some of the main events I think over the last 2 years, from what I've seen, that really impacted the guild landscape and the recruiting landscape. Um, so if you're someone that's a recruiter from your guild, it's a tough life out there. I mean, you have to be active all the time, searching for members in multiple places. You need to be, again, looking at the forums, Discord, Reddit, Facebook. I mean, there's all kinds of places that you have to be trying to find the right recruits. And again, the important part is to understand, what is your guild style? What are your objectives of your guild? What are you guys looking to do? Are you, TW competitive? Are you looking to get more stars in territory battles? Are you just like a casual guild? So knowing where you are in the game and knowing what you want, that will help you to focus on what are the types of players you need to attract, and how aggressive you need to be. So again, I think with higher in guilds, guilds that are 380 or higher galactic power, 380 million or higher galactic power, people are not necessarily leaving those guilds for higher GP guilds. I mean, they're kind of already at the top, so you're probably not worried about having players leave and then have to replace them for those reasons. You're probably having to worry about, if you have a player that decides to retire from the game, you'll have to replace them. Or if someone decides to become, more of a casual or less competitive than what your guild needs, then you might be trying to replace them. So it's tough, if you're in that situation. Again, it's very difficult for you to find a 8 million or a 10 million GP account to step in and replace them. So you're probably having to take a little bit more risk, look at accounts that are in the 6 to 7 million GP range, which again, if they fit the guild play style, if they have the right type of play style, if they're building their account good, if they're willing to work on guild objectives like build certain characters to relics, there's no harm in taking a lower GP account. I mean, my account, for example, again, 2 years in the game, I just hit 6 million GP. So that's, I've added 3 million GP average per year. I think that will slow down, but I would say I would probably add 2 million GP this year. So a 6 million GP account being added now, by the end of the year, is going to be an 8 million GP account, and it will fit right into your guild. So I would say, to higher end guilds, you have to be looking at those players. I'm not saying like just do that because I'm a little guy at 6 million, but you have to be willing to take some risk on some of the GP accounts that are lower than your guild average, it's just hard to find those high accounts. Now, if you're a casual or an active guild, yes, you're wanting to get big GP accounts as well. But if you're trying to get a super competitive player, they're just not going to come to your guild. So, you still have to be looking at those accounts that are maybe a little bit less than your average GP of your guild. But you have the benefit of, I mentioned these players that are maybe in a high-end guild, but they're wanting to take a step back from the game, be a little bit more casual. You find those guys all the time that may be willing to, go to a lower GP guild that fits their play style. They can still have fun. So you'll be able to find those. And again, my guild, we have a few of those that they were ultra competitive, maybe running 2 or 3 accounts. They just didn't have time. They joined our guild and they do fine. They fit our play style of being active, but not ultra competitive. So you have to be willing to do that. Um, yeah, I mean, those are the main points that I wanted to hit on. I would say it's just, again, it's if you're a recruiter out there, it's you have to be active all the time. Most people from my experience is, if you don't catch them in the first couple hours, they probably already found a guild. Now, again, if you're a competitive guild looking for players and you're looking at their ads, and they're accepting offers, with the first 2 or 3 that come in the first 2 or 3 hours. Maybe they're not the players that you want. People that are know what they're after. They want the high end guilds. They're probably more patient as well, and they're willing to field offers and have those discussions. So, again, be patient. Reach out to them. Make sure that the guild ads that you're posting are detailed. They tell about your guild. They tell what your guys' objectives are. And that's where I find, players that are really wanting to go to an active or competitive guild. They'll search out the guild ads and reach out and, ask if they can join. If you're a more casual guild, you probably have to be on the lookout and target players just to get them to come into your guild. One other thing before we wrap up is, something that can help on the recruiting front is, being part of an alliance. Now, alliances can be good, they can be bad. My guild personally is part of an alliance, but it's an alliance where all the guilds are run independently. So there's no ladder structure of getting promoted or demoted within the alliance. But what an alliance does from a recruiting standpoint that I found helpful is you have maybe 15 or 20 different guilds. All of those guilds have their own recruiters. They're posting ads, again, on all these places that we've discussed in the past, bringing people over to the Alliance server. And maybe someone sees that ad, they come and join, they're interested in that guild. Maybe they're not a fit for that specific guild that was advertising. But now you've brought someone into the server where your other guilds that are part of the Alliance can pitch and try to get them to join. So just having, more people out there posting ads, looking for recruits, bringing them into one place. I definitely found that being part of an alliance from that aspect has helped a lot, and we've gotten a few members that way. One other thing, if you're a recruiter for guilds is, you've built this community of friends within the game, whether that's through talking in game, talking on Discord, on different servers, from past guilds. So reach out to people from past guilds, some of your friends. Talk to your shard mates. Like, again, I've recruited multiple fleet shard mates or arena shard mates. I know their GP. You can very easily tell, if they're always the people that are going for the top ranks every single day. What type of player they are. They're active players. They want to be competitive. So, if you have shard chats, talk to those guys. It's a really good source of recruiting. I found. Again, I've recruited multiple people to guilds from my shards, and they've stayed a long time. But really, that's what I wanted to discuss. So again, it's a big job to be a recruiter in this game. The game changes have kind of shook up guilds a couple times over the last couple years. I'm sure there's more coming. But yeah, go ahead and give me your thoughts. Um, if you have any topics you want to discuss on the game in the future episodes of SWGOH Shorts, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Find me on Discord. You can find me on the Free to Play Nation Discord. But yeah, thanks for watching. Go ahead and click the subscribe button up here, and check out some of the previous videos. Thanks.